My name is Maria. I used to live in Malabo, the capital of Equatorial Guinea. I worked at the University of Equatorial Guinea. I was a cashier and property management officer. My job was to handle money for the university and take care of properties like classrooms, offices, and staff housing. It was a stable job, not always exciting, but I was good at it. I was also married. My husband, David, was a doctor. He worked in one of the most respected private hospitals in the country. He was a good man, kind, intelligent, responsible. He worked long hours, sometimes overnight. We had a peaceful life. No big arguments, no drama. But also no passion. We became like roommates. We talked about bills, groceries, and the news, but we didn't laugh or dream together anymore. Then came the day that changed everything. It was a hot Saturday. I had to attend the university's graduation ceremony because I was on the planning committee. I wore a light blue dress and simple heels. The sun was strong, and the event was held outside. I was tired, standing near the front row, checking the VIP guest list. That's when I saw him, Baltasar Ngonga. He arrived in a black SUV, dressed in a grey suit, dark glasses, and a watch that probably cost more than my salary for the year. He was tall, confident, and he walked like someone used to being obeyed. He was the leader of the National Financial Investigation Agency, a powerful man. But that day, he wasn't there for business. He came because his younger sister was graduating. He stood just a few meters from me, talking to the university rector. I don't know why, but our eyes met. Just for a second. He smiled. I looked away quickly, pretending to check the guest list again. But I felt something. Like electricity. Later, after the ceremony, there was a small reception. He approached me near the juice table. He said, "You work here, don't you?" I nodded. I told him my name. He told me his. I laughed and said, "I know who you are." Everyone does. He smiled again and said, "I don't usually like graduations. But today was special." I asked, "Because of your sister?" He looked at me and said, "No, because of you." I blushed. I hadn't felt that way in years. He asked for my number. I hesitated. I looked around. My husband wasn't there. Of course, he was working a night shift again. I gave him my number. That's how it started. Baltasar began texting me. At first, it was just friendly. "Good morning. Hope work is not stressful today. I saw this restaurant and thought of you." Then he invited me for coffee. I told myself it was just coffee. I told myself I was strong, that nothing would happen. But when I sat across from him in a small cafe in Sipopo, I couldn't stop smiling. He made me feel like I mattered. Like I was beautiful. Like I was alive again. One night, we met by the sea. We walked along the shore, just talking. He told me about his job, how lonely power can be. How people fear you but don't know you. I told him about my quiet marriage. He listened. I really listened. That night, he touched my hand. I didn't pull away. Then we kissed. I started living two lives at home. I was the same wife. I cooked dinner, I did the laundry, watched TV with David. He didn't suspect anything. He was always tired from work. He trusted me. That made me feel even more guilty, but I couldn't stop. Baltasar would send me flowers at work, always without a name. He took me on short trips to nearby towns. We had to be careful. He said, "I could lose everything if this becomes public." I understood. But I was also addicted to the feeling, the danger, the attention. He would hold me close and say, "I wish I met you before your husband." And I would say, "Maybe I wouldn't have noticed you." Then we laughed. But deep inside, I was breaking. The night everything almost ended. One day, my husband found a note in my bag. It wasn't signed, but it said, "I can't wait to see you again. You smell like cinnamon and dreams." He asked me, "Who wrote this?" I froze. My heart stopped. I lied. I said it was from a student thanking me for helping them with paperwork. He believed me. But after that, I became more careful. I deleted messages, changed Baltasar's name to Auntie Rosa in my phone, and met him only once or twice a week. I tried to end it once. I told Baltasar, this is wrong. I'm married. I can't keep doing this. He looked at me and said nothing for a while. Then he said, I won't force you. But I will wait for you. Even if it's years. I will wait. I cried. I didn't end it. It was a hot Tuesday afternoon. The air outside was heavy and dry, like it hadn't rained in weeks. I was in my small office at the university, finishing some financial reports. The fan above my desk made a soft clicking noise, like a ticking clock counting down to something I didn't see coming. I was tired. My eyes were heavy, my head was full of numbers and budgets and complaints from professors about broken air conditioners. Then I had the knock, not loud, not soft. Just enough to make me pause. I stood up, walked to the door, then opened it. There he was, Baltasar, wearing dark jeans, a tight black t-shirt, and sunglasses even though it wasn't sunny inside. He had that look on his face, the one that said he wasn't here for a meeting. I froze. What are you doing here? I whispered, peeking behind him to make sure no one saw. I missed you, he said with a quiet smile. This is dangerous. I told him. Exactly, he replied, stepping inside. I closed the door fast and locked it. My office wasn't big. Just a desk, 2 chairs, a cabinet, and a small window. But that day, it became a secret world. A place where time stopped. Baltasar sat on the edge of my desk. I leaned against the cabinet, arms crossed, heart racing. You didn't reply to my texts last night, he said. I was with my husband, I answered. Looking down, he stood up, walked toward me slowly. I hate that I have to wait behind him, he said. Then stop waiting, I whispered. He was right in front of me now. So close I could feel his breath. I can't stop, he whispered back, and then he kissed me slowly, deeply. His hands touched my face like I was something fragile and forbidden. I kissed him back like I forgot who I was, who I belonged to, and what it meant. Then, just as we pulled away, my phone started ringing. I looked at the screen. David, my husband. I stared at the screen. My heart beat so loud, I thought the whole university could hear it. Baltasar looked at me. Are you going to answer? I shook my head. No. Not now. The phone rang and rang, then it stopped. He kissed me again, this time on the neck. I let him. I didn't want the moment to end. I didn't want to return to my other life. After 10 minutes, he left through the back door of the building. No one saw him. At least, I hoped no one did. Later that day, around 5 p.m., I got a message. Baltasar, tonight. I want to see you. No more hiding like it's a crime. Dress like a slay queen. I'm taking you somewhere loud, somewhere bright. I want everyone to see how beautiful you are. I stared at the message for a long time. I thought, can I do this? Should I? But my fingers already typed, where should I meet you? He sent the location. It was VIP room Malabo, one of the most popular nightclubs in the city. Loud music, bright lights, fancy cars, rich people, foreigners, ministers, models, and me becoming someone else. At 9 p.m., I stood in front of my closet, looking at clothes I never wore. Short dresses, tight jeans, crop tops from my younger days. I chose a deep red dress that hugged my body like it remembered who I used to be. I put on makeup like war paint, dark lips, bold eyes, high heels that made my legs look longer. I wore perfume that smelled like danger. I didn't tell David anything. I said I was going to dinner with some coworkers. He nodded from the couch, tired, half asleep. I kissed him on the cheek and left like a shadow. When I arrived at VIP room, I felt like I had stepped into a movie. Loud Afrobeat music, neon lights, expensive cars parked outside. The security guard at the door looked at me twice before letting me in. Inside, it was madness. People dancing, drinking, shouting, laughing. Girls in tiny skirts, men in suits flashing gold watches, and then I saw him. Balthasar standing at the VIP section, holding a glass of dark whiskey, surrounded by 2 bodyguards and 3 men in suits. He saw me and smiled like the world had stopped. He walked down the steps toward me slowly. Every eye turned to look. I could feel the heat, the music, the eyes. He took my hand and said in my ear, "You look like the woman I've been dreaming of." He led me to the VIP table. Champagne was already on the table. He poured me a glass. I drank it fast. We danced at first, slowly. Then faster. The music took over my body. I moved like I was free. Like nothing mattered. Like I didn't have a husband at home and a secret child in my heart. Balthasar watched me like I was the only light in the room. Later that night, after dancing, we sat close. The lights were low now. The music slower. He leaned close and whispered, "Let's run away one day. You and me. Somewhere quiet." I laughed. "That's impossible." "Everything is possible," he said. "If we want it enough." He kissed me again, right there, in public. Nobody dared to question the man who led financial investigations in the country. And if they did, he didn't care. At that moment, I didn't care either. At 3 a.m., he drove me back in his car. Not the usual SUV. Tonight, he brought out the black Mercedes, the one with tinted windows and leather seats. We didn't talk much. When we reached my street, he stopped far from my house. "Go," I said. "Don't stay here. Someone might see." The next morning the alarm rang at 6 a.m. like it always did. My head was heavy. My body was tired. I hadn't slept much. My feet still hurt from the heels. My dress was stuffed in my handbag. My makeup was smudged. But my heart was still dancing. I was back home before dawn, just before the light started to rise over Malabo. I quietly changed into my nightgown, washed my face quickly in the bathroom, and slipped into bed next to David, who was still sleeping. But I couldn't relax. I knew he had called me the day before. I knew he would ask questions and I had to be ready by 7:30 a.m. I was in the kitchen, making tea and buttering bread. I wore my usual simple dress, clean and innocent. The house smelled like ginger and peace. David came into the kitchen, wearing his hospital uniform. He looked at me quietly for a moment. Then he spoke. "You didn't answer my call yesterday." I froze for a second, but then turned to him with a soft smile. "Oh no," I said. "I saw it late. I was in a school meeting. It went long." My phone was on silent. He looked at me, frowning a little. "At what time did the meeting end?" I took a deep breath. "Late. Very late. We were discussing budget reports and security problems. I didn't even realize how much time passed. I came back home so tired." He sipped his tea and looked at me again. "You didn't call back." "I didn't want to wake you," I said quickly. "I thought you'd already be sleeping." He didn't say anything else. Just nodded, but I knew. He didn't fully believe me. Something in his eyes had changed, but he didn't fight. That same day, after David left for the hospital, I dressed up again and went to the university office. I met with the HR manager, a soft-spoken woman who liked me. I told her I've been feeling unwell. "I'm exhausted. I think I need a little break." She nodded. "You've been working hard, Maria. You deserve a rest." She signed the form and smiled. "Take 2 weeks. Come back fresh." I thanked her. My heart was beating fast with excitement. 2 weeks to live the life I wanted, without rules, without pretending. But I didn't tell David. The next morning, I got dressed at 7 a.m. like always. I packed my bag with fake documents, some food, and makeup. The next morning, I got dressed at 7 a.m. like always. I packed my bag with fake documents, some food, and makeup. I kissed David goodbye as he left for work. He believed I was also going to work, but I didn't go to the university. Instead, I went to Baltasa. We had planned everything already. He had a private villa near Punta Europa, far from the busy city, hidden between tall trees and near the sea. No one asked questions there. No one cared who you were. When I arrived, he was waiting outside wearing shorts and a white shirt, sunglasses, and a smile that made me forget all my lies. That first day felt like heaven. We sat by the pool, drinking cold juice and laughing. We listened to music, danced barefoot on the stone floor, and ate grilled fish with our hands. He kissed me without fear. I kissed him without guilt. He called me my secret star. I called him asterisk, my second life. That night, we watched the sunset together. He held my hand, and I rested my head on his shoulder. I want this to last forever, he whispered, but we both knew it couldn't. That's why we made every second count. For 2 weeks I pretended I was going to work every day. I dressed in formal clothes at home, but once I left the house, I changed into shorts, dresses, or swimsuits depending on where we were going. Some days we stayed at the villa, other days we explored places. We drove to Basile and hiked in the forest. We had lunch at luxury hotels pretending to be tourists. We went to quiet beaches where no one could see us. He even took me shopping once at a designer boutique. He bought me a gold necklace with the letter M. At night, we drank wine on the balcony, told each other stories from our childhood, and talked about dreams we could never have. But not every moment was peaceful. I kept checking my phone, afraid David would find out. Afraid someone at the university would tell him I wasn't really at work. One morning, my phone rang while I was lying in bed next to Baltasa. It was David. I answered with a soft voice, pretending I was at the office. Hi, I'm in the records room. Can I call you back in 10 minutes? He said, sure. I just wanted to say I love you. That sentence stabbed me in the heart. I said, I love you too, with a shaky voice. But as soon as I hung up, I cried. Baltasa tried to comfort me. He loves a version of you that no longer exists, he said. He still loves me, I whispered. On the last day, I woke up early and sat outside, watching the sea. Baltasa came out with 2 mugs of coffee. What happens tomorrow? He asked me. I didn't answer at first. Then I said, I go back to being a wife. You go back to being a government man. And we both pretend this never happened. He held my hand tight. It did happen. It will always be ours. Even if the world never knows. I nodded. My heart felt heavy. Will we still see each other? I asked. He looked at me. I will always find you. You are the only thing in my life that feels real. I returned home like nothing happened. David was watching TV. I kissed him hello. He smiled, but the smile didn't reach his eyes. You look different, he said. I laughed nervously. 2 weeks off will do that, he nodded, but I knew he was watching me closely now. He felt the change. I remember it was a quiet Sunday morning. The sun was soft, the breeze gentle. A peaceful day. The kind of day where you want to believe nothing is wrong in your life. I woke up early and told David I was going to take a shower before making breakfast. He was still in bed, reading news on his phone. He nodded without saying much. I didn't know that everything in my life was about to change. I left my phone on the nightstand next to the bed. I always kept it locked, but that morning, I forgot. Maybe I was too sleepy. Maybe I was distracted. Maybe it was fate. I went into the shower, singing softly. The water was hot. It relaxed me. I stayed in there longer than usual. While I was in the shower, David took my phone, and for the first time, he opened it. At first, he saw harmless things, text messages from friends, a missed call from my sister. But then he opened WhatsApp. There it was, Baltasa in Gonga. I had saved his name as Auntie Rosa, but the messages were clear. A man doesn't send messages to his auntie like, "I still taste your lips from last night, you looked like fire in that red dress, I want you again." Same place, same time, I'm jealous when I imagine you in his bed. David scrolled slowly, reading everything in silence. His hands were cold. His face expressionless. He saw pictures too, some of me smiling, some from our secret beach trips. Then he went to the photo gallery. He found selfies of me and Baltasar in the car. My head on his shoulder. His hand on my leg. One photo of us kissing in the villa garden. He said nothing. He just locked the phone and placed it back on the table. I came out of the shower in a towel, smiling. David looked at me calmly. "Water was hot today," I said, drying my hair. He nodded. "Your phone buzzed," he said. "I didn't check." "Oh, probably spam," I replied, drying my face. He stood up, kissed my forehead, and said, "Let me cook breakfast today." I smiled, touched by the gesture. But I didn't see the truth in his eyes. He knew, and I had no idea. For the next few days, David acted completely normal. He smiled. He cooked. He even gave me a small gift, a bracelet with my name on it. But something was different. He didn't touch me the same way. He didn't laugh from his heart. He watched me carefully. Quietly. Like a doctor studying a slow disease, and behind that calm face he was planning something. David didn't fight me. He didn't shout. Instead, he called an old friend from university, Eric, a quiet, serious man who worked in campus security. They used to study medicine together before Eric changed careers. David told Eric everything. "She's cheating with a powerful man, Baltasar in Gonga." Eric nodded. "What do you want me to do?" David replied, "Don't talk to her. Don't touch her. Just watch. Follow her. Report back. I want to know where she goes, who she meets, what she wears when she leaves the house. I want to know everything." And just like that, I became a woman under secret surveillance. I continued my usual lies. I told David I had late meetings. I said I was tired from work. I dressed in office clothes and left the house, but changed into beautiful dresses. Once I reached the street, I went to meet Baltasar in his villa, or at cafes, or sometimes just in his car, driving around like teenagers. I thought I was being smart. But I didn't know someone was always behind me. Eric followed me on a motorbike. He parked far. He took pictures. He wrote notes. He saw the moment I kissed Baltasar outside the hotel gate, the lunch date in a fancy restaurant in Sipopo, the time I laughed so hard, I almost fell off the chair at the beach bar. The moment I came out of the villa with wet hair, wearing the same dress I wore the day before. Eric sent photos to David day after day. Every night, David looked at the pictures. His face didn't move. But his heart was breaking. He saw the woman he married laughing with another man. A man who was richer, more powerful, more exciting. But not better, not more loyal. He never confronted me. He simply watched me like a stranger. He was waiting for something, I didn't know what. One evening, as I walked out of a hotel where I had lunch with Baltasar, I saw a motorbike parked across the street. The man sitting on it looked familiar, too familiar. He was looking at his phone, but I could feel his eyes had been on me just seconds before I paused. He didn't move. I turned and walked fast. Something in my chest told me, "You are being watched." I called Baltasar. There was a man on a bike. He didn't say anything, but I feel something's not right. Baltasar stayed calm. "Be careful. Go straight home. Don't talk to anyone." I did exactly that, but I didn't sleep that night. My husband found out. My world broke. And the man I loved disappeared for weeks. I was walking in a dream. In the morning, I wore my wife face, simple clothes, sweet voice, good manners. I kissed David before work, made breakfast, acted normal. But once I left the house, I became his Maria, Baltasar's secret woman. I wore lipstick for him. I laughed for him. I gave him everything, and I thought I could live like this forever. I thought David would never act, but I was wrong. One Friday morning, David called me while I was preparing to leave the house. He sounded strange. "Calm but cold, let's have dinner tonight," he said. At Don Leandro's restaurant in Malabo, that was one of the city's most expensive places. We hadn't been there in years. I hesitated. "Tonight?" I asked. "Yes," he said. "Just the two of us?" "Don't be late," I said. "Yes." I had no idea what was coming. At 7 p.m. I arrived at Don Leandro's. I wore a black dress, elegant but not too much. I wanted to look like the perfect wife. David was already sitting at a table near the window. He stood up and kissed my cheek. His smile was fake. We ordered food. Talked a little. He asked about work. I gave him lies. Then someone entered the restaurant. I froze. It was Baltasar, wearing a dark suit, walking tall and proud. He didn't see us at first. He was walking toward the back, with two colleagues. Then his eyes met mine and I saw it, the panic. The regret. He slowed down. David noticed. He turned to look at Baltasar and stood up slowly. David didn't shout. He didn't ask questions. He walked straight toward Baltasar and threw a folder on the table where Baltasar was now sitting. Photos spilled across the table. Me with Baltasar, kissing, laughing, holding hands, leaving hotels, entering the villa. Everyone around turned to look. Baltasar tried to stay calm. He pushed the photos under the table. "You made a mistake coming here," David said, his voice hard and low. Baltasar stood up. "Let's talk outside," he said, but David didn't want to go outside. He punched Baltasar right there, in the middle of the restaurant. People screamed. Waiters tried to stop the fight. Chairs fell. "You touched my wife." David shouted. "You destroyed my home." Baltasar didn't fight back. He just stood there, holding his face, his eyes full of shame. I ran to stop David, but he pushed past me. The restaurant manager called the police, but David walked out, proud and broken. The next day, I received a call from the university director. "Come to the office." Now when I arrived, my heart was shaking. They showed me a report. With photos, letters, text messages. David had sent everything to the university board. They said, "Your behavior has damaged the image of the school. We trusted you. You cannot work here anymore." They handed me a letter. Termination. Effective immediately. Just like that, I was fired. My whole world collapsed. Back home, the final blow. I returned home in tears, shaking. David was in the living room, waiting. He looked at me and simply said, "Pack your things." "David, please," I said. "Pack your things," I begged him. I cried. I said it was a mistake, that I was confused. He didn't shout. He didn't curse. He just stared at me with dead eyes. "You lied to me. 4 years. You chose him. Now live with that choice." He gave me one suitcase. And I left the house I built, the man I married, the life I thought I could control. Silence from Baltasar. That night, I called Baltasar. He didn't answer. I messaged him. No reply. The next day, I called again. Still nothing. Then, after 3 days, I got one message. "Baltasar, I'm sorry. I fear I can lose my job too. I have to disappear for a while. Please understand." That was it. "No, I love you. No, I'll fight for us. No, where are you now?" Just fear and silence. Alone, I stayed with a cousin for a while. She asked no questions, but I knew she had heard the gossip. Malabo is small. People talk. Every day, I checked my phone. Every day, I hoped Baltasar would call. But he never did. I sent him messages, long ones, short ones, angry ones, sad ones. No reply. The pain of watching the world go on. A week later, I saw a picture of him on Facebook. He was attending a government event, smiling, wearing a new suit, acting like nothing had happened. And me? I had no job, no home, no man, no plan. Just memories of a life I built on secrets, and now I was living with the price. When Baltasar stopped answering my calls, I thought maybe he just needed time. Maybe a week. Maybe 2. I told myself, he will message me again, he loves me. He won't leave me like this. But time passed a month. Then 2, then 3. Nothing, no messages. No missed calls, no emails. No voice notes, not even a single hi. He vanished just like smoke after fire, and I was left in the ashes after David kicked me out of the house. I stayed with my cousin Isabella. She had a small apartment in Elangema not far from town. But it wasn't home. I slept on her couch. My suitcase stayed half open in the corner of the room. Every day, I folded the same clothes. I had no job to go to, no money of my own, no place to call mine. I woke up feeling empty. I stayed silent most of the time. I stared at the ceiling and asked myself, what have I done? At first, I blamed Balthasar. He promised me a life. He told me he loved me. He said he would always find me, but later, when the anger passed, I started blaming myself. Why did I cheat? Why did I risk my marriage? Why didn't I just say no from the beginning? I started to remember the small things. I lost David's quiet smile when I came home late, the way he covered me at night when I fell asleep early, the breakfast he made every Sunday, the trust he gave me, so full, so blind, so warm. I destroyed all of it, and for what? For a man who ran when life got hard. Regret is not like sadness. Sadness goes away sometimes, but regret, it stays. It sits in your bones. It whispers in your ears when you're trying to sleep. I stopped eating well. I lost weight. I couldn't smile. I avoided mirrors. I hated the woman I became. The strong, smart, confident Maria was gone. What was left? A broken version of me. In Malabo, nothing stays secret. People at the market stared at me. Some whispered. Others laughed quietly. I heard things like, that's the woman who cheated on the doctor. She thought she could keep 2 men. Look at her now, she flew too close to power. And power burned her. Some people enjoyed my fall. Others pitied me, but no one understood. No one knew how badly I wanted to go back in time and stop everything before it started.